He's slow cheering along. Slow. All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to Abba and Shamaim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. We're going to pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures. For in them you think you have eternal life. And they are they which testify of me. Shalom, Brother Herman. And they are they which testify of me. And you would not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you, but there is one that accuses you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Shalom, nigga. Because had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Shalom, everybody. All esteem and praise of Abba and Shamaim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. What's happening with you, man? Let's hit the 2 Peter chapter 3. If I can get there. 3 and 12. Looking forward and hastening to the coming of the day of Elohim, wherein the shining on fire shall be dissolved and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for a new Shamin. What's happening, man? For a new Shamahim and a new Arats, wherein dwell righteousness. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that you look for such things, be diligent that you may be found of him in shalom, without spot and blameless, and account the long suffering of our Lord's salvation, even as our beloved brother Paul also, according to the wisdom given unto him, hath written unto you, as also in all epistles, speaking in them of things which are some things hard to be understood, which they are unlearned and unstable, rest, as also the other scriptures, unto their own destruction. So we was in Philippians, right? Yep, that's where we was at, man. I know we was working a little Job 16 with it. So let's return there. Shalom, Jay. And we see what we got, how we got, when we got what we got. We do need to incorporate Hosea chapter 2, but y'all already know that. We're going to do that from the 2 Corinthians 11 to manifest that particular point. But nevertheless, come on, say Philippians 1 and 8, man.
For Elohim is my record, how greatly I long after you in all the bowels of Yahushua HaMashiach. And this I pray, that your love may abound yet more and more in knowledge and in all judgment, that you may approve things that are excellent, that you may be sincere and without offense till the day of Mashiach.
Without a what?
Without offense.
That's right.
Being filled with the fruits of righteousness, which are by Yahushua HaMashiach, unto the esteem and praise of Elohim.
So now we're talking about being filled with the fruits of righteousness. Shalom, Brother Robert. So come on and hit the fruits, man, by Greek definition. You know Hebrew word for fruits is parade, the offspring, the produce. So some of this stuff we didn't already talk about recently. So what are the fruits of righteousness and what do they look like? How are they produced? Go ahead, good sir.
Karpos, that's fruit, the fruit of the trees, vines of the field, the fruit of one's loins, his progeny, his posterity.
Notice they said the fruit of the tree. That's what it said, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's do this here, man, just for fun. Ezekiel 31. Ezekiel 31. 31 and 6, man. Ezekiel 31 and 6.
All the fowls of Shamaim made their nests in his boughs, and under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth young, and under his shadow dwell all great nations. Thus was he fearing his greatness and the length of his branches, for his root was by great waters. The cedars in the garden of Elohim could not hide him. The fir trees are not like his boughs. The chestnut trees are not like his branches. Nor any tree in the garden of Elohim was like unto him in his beauty.
Paul, tell him what beauty means, man. That beauty is her name. That's the song, man. How many of y'all gonna start making your children do Drew Hills, man?
That's your feet. That's beauty.
That's who?
Beauty. Your feet.
Go ahead.
I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches,
so
that all the trees of Eden that were in the garden of Elohim envied him. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Elohim, because you have lifted up yourself in height, And he hath shot up his top among the thick boughs, and his heart is lifted up in his height.
Paul, tell him what boughs is. We ain't going no further. We can say, I'm going to make him do Drew Hills.
Abath, cord, rope, cordage, foliage, interwoven foliage.
Interwoven foliage. John 15:1. You say he's been planting it. They cheating on the wall sits, huh? They can't cheat that. They're doing the woody. The boy say, tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Is it good, please, Brother Joseph? Is it good enough for your baby?
I am the true vine, and my Abba is the husbandman. Every branch in me that bear not fruit, he take away. And every branch that bear fruit, he purge it, that it may bring forth more fruit.
That it might bring forth what?
More fruit.
What else?
Now you are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you.
Definitely.
Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine.
Except it abide where?
In the vine.
Come on.
No more can you, except you abide in me. I am the vine. You are the branches.
He said, read that back there one more time, man. Listen to him. Listen what it says.
Said, abide in me, and I in you.
Abide in me, and what?
And I in you.
What's going to happen?
As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself.
The branch can't do what?
Bear fruit of itself.
Except
it abide in the vine.
My God, today.
No more can you, except you abide in me.
Pause. Genesis chapter 1, verse 12. Make it 11. Genesis 1:11.
And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth.
The seed is in his what?
In itself.
What else?
Upon the earth, and it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after its kind.
And the tree did what?
Yielding fruit, whose seed in itself after his kind.
After what?
After his kind.
Tell him what kind mean, man.
That is mean, kind, sometimes a species.
Now, this gonna make Shalom, Brother Shaul. This gonna make Matthew 7 be of more interest to you. Start verse 12 in Genesis chapter 1 one more time.
And the earth brought forth grass, herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed in itself after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good.
He said that the herb yielding seed and the tree yielding fruit, and the seed was itself, and it was after what?
His kind.
His what?
His kind.
That means his type, right? And Elohim saw that it was what?
Good.
Now, Matthew 7:13 on general principle. Shalom, Sister Virginia.
Enter you in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction. And many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way.
Pause. Can anybody tell me what straight gate, what does it represent by definition? Yes, sir. That can make sense kind as a part of the genealogy of plant science back in school. I can't remember that far back. I'm a roll with you on that. But to be more specific, you know that every species can only produce its like. Like a dog cannot produce a cat. You know what I'm saying? You can make a cat lay with a dog carnally, and that's still, they're not going to inseminate each other. I know some of you have heard some of the nasty stuff human beings have done with animals, and no matter what animal it lays with, its seminal fluid cannot mix and create a man dog or a man horse. It can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So when we get to this verse and Matthew in a moment, once somebody can tell me what does this straight gate represent, because it's something we talked about in the last at least 60 to 90 days, we can keep on rolling. It could have been longer than 90 days, but I put that, it had to be 90 days. That's 3 months. It's May. So that's the February. And I believe we've done it in between that time. Yes, son. Yes. Okay. Okay. Booper. Nobody can tell me what the straight gate represents. Yes, tribulation, if you would. Go ahead and read the straight gates. If we put on that a difficult or challenging, I'll allow it.
Straight is stenos, narrow or straight.
And when you look at straights in Hebrew, you know it's going to tell you that that's dealing with vexation. You know what I'm saying? Affliction, strife, things of that sort. So when you enter into that straight gate, it get tight. You know what I'm talking about? But not tight is just in the narrow part, but the aspect of the purging of perfection. This is how his kind is produced. Matthew 7:13, one more time, man.
Until you went at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction.
And many
there be which go in thereat, because straight is the gate
and narrow
is the way,
and there be
which lead unto life, and few there be that find it.
Many people not going to really want to go through that type of difficulties, that type of tribulation, that type of affliction in order to get life. Most people don't want to go through that. You know what I'm talking about? So come on with it, man. Roll with it.
Say, beware of false prophets.
Beware who?
Of false prophets.
What they like.
Which come to you in sheep's clothing.
And are inwardly.
They are ravening wolves.
What happened?
You shall know them by their fruit.
You should know them by their what?
By their fruit.
By their what?
By their fruit.
Listen what he say.
Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles?
Figs of thistles.
Even so, every good tree bring forth good fruit.
Every good tree bring forth what?
Good fruit.
You see how the tree yielding fruit whose seed is in itself after its kind, but a corrupt tree
bring forth evil fruit.
And what else?
A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit.
You know why a good tree can't bring forth evil fruit? Because it's not of that kind. And a good and a corrupt tree
bring forth, or neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit.
It can't do that because it's not of its kind. Shalom, Sister Kelly. Continue.
Every tree that bring not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire.
Now you see how this relates as we talk about what Genesis 1 and 12 say. You understand? You can only bring fruit after your kind. First John chapter 3, verse 5. We read that Wednesday. We're going to keep on running down the line. You can only bear fruit after your kind, your species. So when you hear this in John, it might hit different now. Because now you're going to understand you either going to bear fruit because you are God or you're going to bear fruit because you are the devil. And notice that he said the seed is in itself. Now, the seed is the word of God. And of course, you know, 1 John 3 and 9 say he can't see because it's what? His seed remains in him. You know why Yahushua didn't sin? Because his seed remained in him. And therefore, he bear fruit after his kind. That's why he say, what you see the Father do, I do. Matter of fact, I said it wrong. Go and read me John 5 and 16 before you read 1 John 3 and 5. Booper. 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 1 John 3 and 5. Roll with it.
John 5 and 16.
I'm sorry. 1 John 5 and 16. Hey.
Therefore did the Yahudim persecute Yahushua and sought to slay him because he had done these things on the Shabbat day. But Yahushua answered them, my Abba work hitherto, and I work. Therefore the Yahudim sought the more to kill him, because not only had he broken the Shabbat, but said also that Elohim was his Abba, making himself equal with Elohim.
Listen.
Then answered Yahushua and said unto them, truly, truly, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he see the Abba do. For what things soever he do, these also do the Son likewise.
That means if they do the same thing, they bear the same fruit. Why they bear the same fruit? Because they're of the same kind. John 10 and 30. John 10 and 30.
I and Abba are one.
They are God. So if they're God, they're going to produce the same fruit. If two people say they have God, they should produce the same results, meaning the same behavior. If they're not producing the same behavior, guess what that means, Sid? Somebody lying. You know what I'm talking about? Somebody lying, man. Somebody lying. Hold on, I got something now. Joanne. Come on, give me Ephesians 1 and 3, man. Ain't gonna hurt nobody. Cause people on my man. You know what I'm saying? Brother was telling me that earlier, man. This Sunday I already know. Like, it's a lot of people who, in the word men specifically, that don't like being around other men because they don't want nobody to hold them accountable. You know what I'm saying? They're very not. If you're a self-disciplined individual who is self-accountable, then of course you may not necessarily see that. But when you see somebody like, I don't need nobody, a nigga don't want nobody to tell him, hey man, that's dumb. Hey man, you wrong. Or maybe you should look at it like this. Or maybe, because a lot of people feel like if you friends, you should go along with everything that you do. That's not a man. That nigga dumb. You know what I'm talking about? Then there's some people, they just want to do what they want to do. You know, and I told you previously, you run across somebody, man, and they tell you everybody who they came across in their life is, oh, I don't have no, like they say they ain't got no friends, they don't deal with nobody because people this and people that. They're probably a real live human piece of excrement. And I don't say that fallaciously, maliciously, disrespectfully, or anything of the sort. You know what I'm saying? You have to pay attention to that. You have to look at people who have a problem and issue maintaining relationships of any type. You know what I'm saying? Because usually that's going to come into the play of not wanting to be held accountable for your choices, thoughts, deeds, and actions. You know what I'm talking about? You know, unfortunately, living in this particular society, the majority of our people are not accustomed to having people who actually genuinely love and care about them. Shalom, brother Marcus. So it's hard for some people to fathom that. They usually push that away. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not the norm for them. They're very mistrusting of it because of what other people have done to them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm mentioning this because you know everybody's in the tizzy about this nigga's trial that's going on. I don't really care nothing about that. I can say that, shalom, brother Ernest, man. I can say some of what they're discussing in that trial pertains to sex magic that we never got round to just giving a brief overview, because that's not something that I really care to go into hush and excruciating details, because there's no way to discuss that without journeying down the road of vulgarity. You know what I'm saying? And that's just not a road that I particularly want to travel down. And I say that because I know some of y'all probably heard in the court proceedings about what this man likes to do with seminal fluid. And I'll tell you that's sex magic. I wouldn't even have to do any deep dive research to know that that's sex magic, because that's not normal. That's what I'm saying. That's not normal at all. But nevertheless, when you look out here and you venture in the world, it ain't just got to be people in the word. Some people are introverted and loners. You know what I'm saying? So that is a thing. We're not really talking about people who like that. You know what I'm talking about? We're talking about people who purposely and intently, verbally express their desire to not needing anyone around them, even though the words say different. One thing I will tell you before I proceed. You read John 10 and 30, then we in Ephesians 1 and 3. Stop. The greatest thing that you could ever do to assist Satan in your destruction is to isolate yourself. You know what I'm talking about? Because if you are not spiritually strong and adept, like you seen Hamashiach could go off and fast for 40 days and 40 nights and then take Satan on head up dolo. Because he wasn't by himself anyway, because his father is with him. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't that spiritually adept and strong, and you thinking, oh, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, don't nobody love me and care about me, really saying that in your brain for the justification of your piss poor ability to stay connected and have relationships with people so you can isolate yourself, man, Satan gonna toss you like some flapjacks, nigga. I'm talking about, boy, you can get tossed like a Caesar salad out this hole. You know what I'm talking about? Because, boy, you going out there dolo, and, boy, you ain't strong enough to fight that, boy. I'm trying to tell you. But if you ain't built up no spiritual stamina like that, man, you're not going to be able to go head up with that man. Because that man going to hit you in every area where you weak at when you weak. You know what I'm saying? That's how he kick his game. You have to understand, son, he ain't nobody that's going to come fight you with straight up fade and this, that, there, and the third. He going to catch you when you weak, and he going to tempt you with the things that he perceives that you hold most dear and valuable to you. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you look at what he tempted the Lord with, look at what he tempted them with. You know what I'm saying? Look at what he tempted them with. What he thought that man was weak for when he was in a period of weakness. And you in a period of weakness, we read it Wednesday, man, 2 better than 1. If a man fall, who gonna pick him up? All that thinking, man. Well, you better put all that super tough stuff to the side, man. I don't need nobody in there. That's how you gonna end up caught up in the mix. Boy, Satan gonna make you his hoe. He gonna have you out here on the stroll, but he gonna offer you everything you like, and you ain't gonna be strong enough to turn it down. When this man told you the ruach is willing and the flesh is weak, man, that's not no talk. That man ain't just talking. So I have made it my mission to not pay attention to that case because I know it's a distraction. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I jumped real, bro. Hold on. Now you got to think about that, man. See, the worst part of my life was when I was self-isolated. It seems a good idea in the moment, especially when you talk about before being in the Word, that most people are accustomed to doing it. But when you really start dealing with spiritual warfare of that type, I'm not saying that it can't be done, but if you're not spiritually strong and adept like that, he gonna bust you down. Shalom, brother Mama. Amen, man. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up and down. Now, and I mentioned all that because he's talking about being filled with the fruits of righteousness. So being filled with those fruits could assist you in that battle. But never, because he said the ruach is strong. It's willing, excuse me. The flesh is weak. Usually, when you're in a situation where you desire to isolate, you're usually in a weak situation or circumstance. You know what I'm talking about? You're usually weak carnally. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think I know. It's a verse in Psalms where David said, "My soul refused to be comforted." Hold on, let me find it. Come over here to Psalm 77. Psalm 77:1. Psalm 77:1.
I cried unto Elohim with my voice, unto Elohim with my voice, and he gave ear unto me. In the day of my trouble, I sought the Lord. My sword ran in the night and ceased not.
And my soul
refused to be comforted.
Run it back, verse 1 again. I cried
unto Elohim with my voice.
Unto Elohim
with my voice.
And he gave
ear unto me.
Now, think about your John 17. Oh, for sure, man. Thank you. Remember your John 17 when the Lord was praying. More specific, let me take that back. Remember your Matthew 26 when he was praying for that cup to pass. He said he cried with his voice, and Elohim gave ear unto him. Look what he said in verse 2. In the day of my what?
Of my trouble.
He said, I was exceedingly sorrowful, even unto what, Sylvia? He said, and my sword
ran in the night.
My sword ran when?
In the night.
When did that time of night they came and got him? They got him in nighttime, didn't it? And it ceased what?
Ceased not.
And my soul refused to be what?
Comforted.
It refused to be what?
Comforted.
You think his soul was being comforted when that man was praying that he was sweating so hard it looked like drops of blood? Listen to verse 3. I remembered.
Elohim.
Remember, that's the car. That means that's the cause to come to your remembrance. That's a mark in your brain. And was troubled. I what?
Complained.
And my ruach
was overwhelmed.
What do you want you to do? Say la. Pause. He say he complained. Don't you know when? Give him complain by definition. Dwayne Jamal. Your mama being mean to you? Oh, she was. Tell her stop being mean to you. Hey, cut it out. Go ahead. Complain.
That is siyag. That's to put forth, to mediate, to muse, commune, speak, complain, ponder, sing. We got pray, speak.
So he praying to him. It's not complaining because you know he said don't be no murmuring and complaining. Mm-hmm. So he's speaking. And it's laying out his soul. And this is going back to Job 16, because he said, what horrible comforters are you? Remember, you were talking about his friends. Now he's saying his soul refused to be comforted. No matter what could go down, his soul would not take comfort to that Malachim came with strength. But let's continue. He said, and you would. This is verse 4, Psalm 77.
You hold my eyes waking. I'm so troubled that I cannot speak. I've considered the days of old, the years of ancient times.
I call to remembrance.
My song in the night.
I commune
with my own heart.
My ruach.
Made diligent search.
Will the Lord
cast off forever?
Will he be favorable?
No more.
Is his mercy
clean gone forever?
Do his promise?
Fail forevermore.
Have Elohim
forgotten to be gracious?
Have he in anger?
Shut up his tender mercies?
What?
Selah.
Now that means you got to pause. He said in his anger have he shut up tender mercies. Again, you should remember, because we've been reiterating this for almost 10 years. He said that he wanted to kill Yasharal as what? One man. He said, chasten your son while there is hope, and spare not for his crying. He slayed his son in his anger, and the son is asking, are the mercies clean gone? Has he forgotten to be gracious? This is what he's going through. This is entering in the straight gate. And that's why he said there'll be few be there that find it. But life is there. Let's continue. Verse 10, Psalm 77. And I said,
this my infirmity,
but I will remember
the years of the right hand of the Most High.
He said, this is my weakness, but I'll remember God instead. Let's continue. This is actually getting ahead of ourselves. This is actually showing forth the fruits of the righteousness of faith, because my homeboy called me yesterday. He was talking about the preacher at the church he go to. And he was saying, I'm ready to throw Paul's letters away. Woo, woo, de woo. But I say, I understand why you would say that. Most people have an issue with Paul's letters, but I'm going to be honest with you. The issue ain't the letters. The issue is the individuals trying to interpret them. Most of them don't know what they're talking about. But I'm going to tell you something real, man. You know what that is, man? If a nigga want to come up with something, it doesn't matter if it's the law. It don't matter if it's the prophets. It don't matter if it's the writings, meaning Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Psalms and Solomon. It don't matter if it's the Gospels. It don't matter if it's Revelation, the epistles, or Acts of the Apostles. A person will turn and pervert and twist something to make it mean whatever they want it to mean, whether they're doing it out of malicious intent or ignorance. So it's never an issue with what's written. It's an issue with the individual calling themselves trying to decipher it, if you would. Discern it, if you would. Rightly divide it, if you would. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you have to do what? Search the scriptures daily to see if those things are so. That you would be more noble than those in Thessalonica. Shalom, 10K, man. Simple as that. Now, like even today, I'm talking with dudes, man, explaining to them the legal definitions of what Sean Combs is on trial for. Most people, and I'm mentioning this because this is another situation of piss poor judgment. And when I say piss poor judgment, I'm talking about piss poor judgment relative to the law, what you're looking at, versus judging according to your personal opinion. You understand what I'm saying, man? Because whether you think that this woman was a willful and willing participant of sexual escapades that have been enumerated at this particular juncture is of no concern to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't care. What we looking at is, and I'm talking about as forth as using judgment, because remember we read about this in 1 Kings 3 and 9. Now, of course, this is not judgment. Shalom, Sister Gwen. This is not judgment according to a godly standard. So let's let that be known. You know what I'm talking about? So If you don't know the statutory definitions of racketeering, why would you even speak on if you think someone is guilty of racketeering? If you don't know the federal definitions of sex trafficking, not what you think sex trafficking is, not because you watched the movie Taken and you thought that's what sex trafficking is. You know what I'm saying? Most of you don't even know what racketeering is because most of you were not enamored, read, watched, studied, or looked at anything to deal with the Costa Nostra, aka the American Italian Mafia, because that's who racketeering was created for. That entire federal statute was created to take them down. And it is a very, 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 and I can't tell you how many varies that I could put into this, a broad legal statute that covers a gambit of a multitude of criminal activities. You know what I'm saying? It's not what you think it is. You know what I'm talking about? So what I'm telling you is, the issue is that these people have to show a pattern. See, you think they calling Cassie up because you think the case is about Cassie. The case is not about her. They're using her to say this is a pattern of a particular type of behavior that will meet the statutory definition of racketeering. You know how many people I had to tell them that you stupid as hell because you don't need a co-defendant to be charged with racketeering? You don't need a co-defendant for that. You don't. But you don't know that. So what I mentioned is here, read John 7:49. Now, of course, this wouldn't pertain to the United States Code, which I'm referencing here, which is the federal code. The United States Code is where the federal laws are contained. You know, each state has their own state statutes. That's a different conversation. But John 7:49, listen to what he says.
But this people who know not the law are cursed.
These people that know not the what?
The law are cursed.
Now, see, I mentioned all that for this particular reason. If people don't even know the laws of the land of which they live, but they say they be servants of God, that would tell me they may not even know the law of the God whom they profess to serve and try to convince and persuade others to serve. Because you're more than likely going to say what you think you know, what you heard somebody know, versus what's written on the paper with understanding. And that goes back to the conversation we had about abounding more in judgment and having the right rectitudes, the ability to judge properly. And not judge according to your personal feelings, thoughts, or concerns, not judging according to how it looks, but judging according to righteous judgment. Like I said, I don't know if this woman was particularly desirous to engage in these activities at all and don't care. But one thing I can say, when I see a videotape of a man butterball naked and he's willing to football punt kick somebody's face in a hallway and beat them unmercilessly, all because this woman is butterball naked herself, trying to escape from this individual, it would lean to tell me that there's quite possibly some intimidation, threats, and coercion going on in order to get someone to participate in particular activities. Because why in the hell are you running from a nigga butt naked at a hotel, man? And why is this nigga chasing you butt naked, kicking you in your face, and punching you like a man in the street? You know what I'm talking about? So that's something about, you don't have to judge that according. Common sense should tell you there could be something going on there. That's not normal. That's not normal. That's not normal for no grown man to chase nobody with no drawers on, just a robe. How many of y'all ever chased somebody and kicked them in the face? Much less a woman. And this is not to cape for her, because, hey, I don't know what these people got going on, but I know it's something sour with that, though. But you know what a lot of people like to do? They like to judge on the side of money. They like to judge on the side of status. They like to judge on the side of gender. And they won't judge righteously. And you know why? Because you're emotionally invested into those subset of things that are mentioned. Why did I mention all that? Because when it comes to judging things from a godly standard, you're not going to be able to produce the peaceable fruits of righteousness You know what I'm talking about? You're not going to be able to produce that. And you know why you're not going to be able to produce that? Because you ain't going to have the faith, and you're not going to have the long suffering, and you're not going to have the mercy, and you're not going to have the meekness. So you're going to approach things from a carnal perspective, and you're going to judge it according to who is in front of you versus judging for God, like it said in 2 Chronicles 19. Because you don't judge for man, you judge for your who. Hey, hush your mouth. All right, little boy. Because you don't judge for man, you judge for Yahuwah. And he don't take gift or price or reward. Nor does he care about the face of the mighty, nor the face of the poor, nor the face of the strong, nor the face of the rich. And that's what most people's problem is. Because you're going to judge based off who's in front of you and your familiar or interpersonal relationship with them. And you're going to judge wrong, and you're going to go to hell. You know what I'm talking about? And a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people cannot separate their personal thoughts, feelings, and concerns when it's time to do misfire. And you have to be able to do that, man. It don't matter who in front of you, cuz. It don't matter. You better be doing it like Yahuwah in front of you. Because this is what the word should produce. This is what the man said he take pleasure in. Loving kindness, righteousness, and judgment. These are the things that I delight. The Lord told you those are the weightier matters of the law. Mercy, judgment, and faith. He said the law of God is in his mouth, and his tongue speaketh of judgment. Remember, judgment is not coming through in every instance with condemnation. It's speaking and pointing out the things that are right. People say, am I right, I say. That's what it's about. It's about nothing other than that. Not looking at something by how it looks to be, but judging it righteously. You know what I'm saying? Like I told my dog yesterday. Amen, man. He was talking to me about Paul's thoughts on circumcision. And people thinking, he's telling people not to get circumcised. But when you look at the standard, Yahuwah don't care about you clipping no foreskin off your penis. You know why? Because Abraham was declared to be righteous before he even gave him the covenant of circumcision. Abraham was already justified with Yahuwah before that was even a conversation. Then when you go to Jeremiah, he said Egypt, Ammon, and Edom are uncircumcised in the flesh. He say, but Yasharal and Yehuda are uncircumcised in the heart. Then he tell you to circumcise yourselves to Yahuwah. Then Paul come back and tell you get the circumcision made without hands, putting off the body of sin. Then he told you circumcision is nothing. Uncircumcision is nothing but obeying God. So this is not telling nobody not to get circumcised, because those people were telling people you had to get circumcised to get the Ruach, and that's a lie. You know what I'm talking about? And that's what people don't pay attention to. He wasn't telling people not to get circumcised. They were telling, we read this about a few, they were telling people if you weren't circumcised, you couldn't be saved. But Abraham was justified with God, and he wasn't circumcised. When he got circumcised, he was already justified. Them people who entered into the land in Yahushua son of Nun, chapter 5, were not circumcised. And they inherited the promise. So what are you talking about? You know why you do that? Because you want to esteem in your flesh, because you can't judge righteously. This is not telling you not to do that. This is understanding the righteousness of God, period. When you can do that, you can discern what this man is talking about. He was circumcised. He come from a people who circumcised. So why would he tell somebody not to do that? He's not telling them not to do it. He's trying to give them perspective. But you know what people don't like? Having perspective. Because you want to see things from your lens. You got to see things from God's lens. You know what I'm talking about? That's what he said. That's what he said. Psalm 77, verse 10, man. Come on with it.
Said, and I said, this is my infirmity, but I'll remember the years of the right hand of the Most High.
I will remember
the works of Yahuwah.
I surely
will remember your wonders of old.
I will meditate
also of all your work and talk of your doing.
Your way,
O Elohim, in the sanctuary. Who is so great Elohim as our Elohim?
You.
Elohim that do wonders.
And you have declared
your strength among the people.
And we know that because he declared his son amongst the people. You dig? Come on, you
have with your arm redeemed your people, the sons of Jacob and Joseph.
And who is his arm? Of course, that's Yahusha. Now, we mentioned all that. Ephesians, you can make it one of them. And that's it, man. You got to ask yourself, when you look at what are the pieces, what are the fruits of righteousness? You know that that's in Galatians. So if the word is in you and you in the word, you should be producing those things. You know what I'm talking about? If you are quick to wrath, then what you got going on? If you have no joy, if you have no peace, if you have no love, if you have no faith, if you have no humility, what you got going on? That man say your affections and lusts had supposed to have been put to death. So if you're still operating off of your feelings and your desires, what do you got going on? Because that means you wouldn't be a tree after his kind. Because if you're a tree after his kind, you're going to produce the same fruit that he produces. You understand? You're not going to produce strange fruit. That's not how that works. That's not how any of that works. And that's the biggest problem. There's a way that seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. You wanted to be one way. You seen the wire. You wanted to be one way. But it ain't one way. It's the way of Kadash. And the unclean shall not walk therein. You understand? Come on, Ephesians 1.
Paul, an apostle of Yahushua HaMashiach by the will of Elohim.
That's right.
To the saints which are at Ephesus, to the faithful in Mashiach Yahushua.
Grace be to you.
And shalom from Elohim our Abba.
That's right.
The Lord Yahushua HaMashiach.
Hold on, Paul. See, I'm glad you said that, Brother Herman. I'm glad you said that. He said you are after your own thoughts, and your thoughts are not my thoughts. So do me a favor, Sid. Give me Isaiah 55:3. We'll come right back. See, I'm glad he said that. Matter of fact, before you do that, come to Proverbs, what it is, 23:9. Let me make sure it's 23:9. and 7. Proverbs 20, but you can make verse 1. I just want to hear everything. Ain't gonna hurt nobody. Proverbs 23:1. We got time. You got somewhere to go? So yeah, I got home my wife. She missed me.
And when you sit to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before you, and put a knife to your throat if you be a man given to appetite.
Now, we done talked about this before. The Lord say, man, if your eye offend you, pluck it out. If your hand offend you, cut it off. For it's better for you to go into life maimed than to have 2 eyes and 2 hands to go into hellfire where the worm dies not and the fire shall not be quenched. Now, should you literally be poking your eye and your hand out, cut your hand off? Not necessarily. No, somebody did. There's a rapper from Texas that actually did. That man poked his eye out so he could get out the music business because they were coming for his bunghole. And he wasn't with it. And we were talking about the other day because my dog say, hey, it was certain things in the music business, and that's why he stopped. You know what I'm talking about? And that's when I was telling them, everybody not like you, everybody ain't that strong. You know what I'm saying? Because we were talking about the young lady and whatever she was participating in. The biggest mistake anybody can ever make is you look and you assess the situation and circumstance and you assess that person that they like you. Well, I wouldn't have did that. Well, nigga, they not you. Because everybody's not that strong, man. You can get 100 people in the same scenario and get 100 different responses. You know what I'm saying? Or you could get 50 people who fold and 50 people who don't. Shoot, you could get 90 people who fold and 10 people who don't. Let me tell you something real, man. The amount of people who have a strong level of mental fortitude is not great. The reality of life is that most people do not handle stress well. You know what I'm saying? Which is part of the reason why I be sharing that lady's reels, that therapist lady, for what she be talking about, because she's talking about the very things that go not directly, that we speak with the word talking about, which is having the capacity to deal with adversity and not run away and hide. Because we know that, you know why? Because the Lord said, in the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I've overcome the world. These are things that you have to have. You have to have spiritual capacity to deal with affliction. You have to have spiritual capacity to deal with adversity. A man say, I don't pray. that you take them out of the world, but that you keep them from the evil. That man said, I'm not asking you to hide them from adversity. I'm not asking you to hide them from persecution. I'm not asking you to hide them from tribulation. I'm not asking you to hide them from suffering. When he's telling you my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness, he wants you to have the capacity to endure and overcome it through him to do the very same thing that he did. But you know what we have over here? I need self-care. You run and go hide. Oh, this don't serve me, you run and go hide. That means you're weak because you don't have the capacity to deal with anything that makes you uncomfortable. But what makes you uncomfortable is where your strength is going to be derived from, especially if you say you serve the Lord. Especially. Let me see what brother said. He said, Houston, I like that song with Nate Dogg back in the day. Said Usher or someone was trying to sleep with him. Yeah, that's the dude name. Houston, that was the artist's name. That man plucked his eye out. He said he wanted out. Shalom, Mama Steph. You all right. You got to think about that, man. Everybody not that strong, cuz. Especially when you got a verse that said those that are strong ought to do what, Sid? Support the weak and not to do what? Please yourself. So the book already telling you everybody ain't that strong. You should have known that when you seen how some of these people moved in the wilderness that everybody wasn't that strong. You should have seen that when you looked in the Gospels and seen that everybody wasn't that strong. Indeed, Brother Herb, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. So that means he's not asking. He said, I'm not praying for them to be taken out of the world. You have to have the wherewithal to be able to deal with life. Most people can't. They're not taught to. They're not trained to. Most people are trained to run away from things that make them uncomfortable and think that that means that they're protecting themselves. You're not protecting yourself. You're actually making yourself more prey. Because when you can't run away, when you can't hide, you're going to be forced to deal with things that you don't have the spiritual, mental, and emotional capacity to deal with, and you will be eaten alive by the adversary and his minions. You know what I'm saying? So you go through the word for the explicit purpose to not only strengthen your faith, but to strengthen yourself in every area so you can have the capacity to defeat your adversary, which is why he can tell you to resist him in the face of faith and be steadfast, unmovable, and the nigga will leave you alone. He'll leave you alone. He didn't say run from the devil and he'll run from you. He said resist him and he will flee from you. So you have to have the capacity. That's the difference of knowing this is not a situation and circumstance I should be in and depart. Because sometimes you could put yourself in a situation and circumstance and you know like, hey, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be around these people. This is an opportunity for destruction for me. Not necessarily destruction like you going to hell, but the fourth is that this is a pitfall and pratfall that you may not have the mental and emotional and spiritual dexterity to deal with. Let me get up out of here. And you know why you need to have that? Because you have to have a level of self-awareness. All that macho stuff, I'm tough, I'm not this, and man, say that junk for somebody else, man. Keep it real with yourself. Amen, Brother Herman. You got to keep it real with yourself. I'm using simplistic thing that we used to say when I was preaching in the street. If you know you like women, what sense does it make for you to go to the strip club? Now, of course, if you say you a saint, I don't know why you'd be going to the strip club anyway, or any club for that matter. You know what I'm talking about? Now, somebody like, it ain't a sin to go to the club. I didn't say it was. I said, why would you want to be there? That's the thing that you have to look at. Ain't nobody, man, you can go wherever you want to go, but then it'd have to come a point in time, if you are producing the fruits of righteousness and the word is dwelling in you and you in the word, it's just certain places you didn't even want to be. Because he said, blessed are those who don't stand in the way of sinners. So if I look in a particular environment and I know that they're the enemies and adversaries of God based off their lifestyle, why would I want to inhabit the same places that they inhabit? Now, of course, you have to have some discernment. Are you saying if I want to go to the movies and like, come on, man, be serious. Because why would you be in a nightclub? What goes on in a nightclub? Why am I there? Why do I want to be surrounded by people who want to gyrate to ungodly music and get drunk and possibly find someone to fornicate with? Why do I derive some type of pleasure in this environment to the point that I'm willing to be there? And that means you out late at night. So if you're a servant of God, why you want to be? What's out there for you at 1, 2, 3, 4 day in the morning, man? That has to come a time that got to pass away. For some people, it never does. That's their business. You know what I'm saying? So if you know you weak for something, you wouldn't put yourself in that position. Or if you in a particular scenario or a particular environment and you see that something that you weak for has arose, it didn't necessarily say that you went there anticipating that to be there, then your self-awareness would tell you, I need to be more consciously aware, I need to be on guard, or I need to leave. And that could cover a gambit of things. But it could be somebody there that you have particular tension with, and you know that, hey, this could go left. I don't want to be there for that. Because I'm not on that. And I know they silly. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to go here and cuss somebody out or get into a physical altercation. Because you want to prove I ain't no hoe. Nigga, you going, man, I ain't got time for that. Remember we talked about it today? Man, you got to sit back. Boy, you got something to lose. You do never, ever, 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 and I mean ever, want to engage with somebody who believes, perceives, or thinks that they have nothing to lose. Because they don't care what they say, they don't care what they do, they don't care about no outcomes, they don't care about no consequences, they don't care about any of that. They don't care about any of that. But you got something to lose, and that's your soul. Because you say, I'm a servant of the living God. I'm seeking everlasting life. I desire to dwell in righteousness with my Abba in the kingdom of Shamaim. I have something to lose. I'm not fooling with you. Say, we are willing to take the trip to hell just to feel comfortable and feel good to justify behavior. Indeed. He said, and there are 3 times come when you have overcome or you're not. He said, like Hebrews 6:16, run that for me real quick. Now, this is just some game. You can take it, you can do what you want to. Because in certain places, I shoot, once I didn't have a desire for them before the word, make it 6 and 12. And I certainly don't have them after. Go ahead. Hebrews 6 and 12. We're going to work our way to 16.
That you be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promises.
There's a lot of people, they lazy, man.
For when Elohim made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater.
He swore by what?
By himself. Saying, surely blessing I will bless you,
and
multiplying I will multiply you.
And
so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise.
He obtained it.
For men truly swear by the greater, and an oath for confirmation to them an end of all strife. Wherein Elohim, willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel.
What he showed?
Confirmed it by an oath.
That is what?
2 immutable things.
What them 2 things is?
In which it was impossible for Elohim to lie.
That's right.
We might have a strong consolation, who have fled for refuge to lay hold upon the hope set before
You fled for what? Hey, y'all cut it out over there.
For
it's
refuge.
Not playtime. That means that you fled to a place of safety. Go ahead.
Which we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, and which enter into that within the veil.
That's it.
Whether the forerunners for us entered, even Yahushua made a high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek.
He'd say you got to anchor to the soul. Now you have to look at that. Man, a lot of people problem is they want to be and do everything they want to do or used to do and still claim they are serving a God. And that's just not how it works, man. That's just not how it works. You know what I'm saying? That's just not how it works. Either you're going to sanctify yourself and set yourself apart or you're not. But you can't straddle the line and you can't do both. Said fled to a place of safety that wasn't anchored to the cornerstone. That's a dangerous place to be. Come on back to Proverbs 23. The main part of Proverbs 23 is if you know you're giving over to certain desires to kill them. Proverbs 23 and 1. Put them to death.
When you sit to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before you, and put a knife to your throat if you be a man given to an appetite.
Now, he also telling you if you sit to somebody, a ruler or somebody of status, you need to pay attention to the stuff they offering you. Because the stuff they offering you going to be deceit. Case in point, why he mentioned Sean Combs. You know how many of these young men and young ladies end up with a hot dog in their bun? because these people shower them with gifts and what you call it, and advances and jewelry and all this type of stuff, and don't know and understand that that's a deceitful gift. That's something used to deceive you, to run a play on you later for you to lose your soul. And I ain't even talking about losing your soul as far as going to hell. I'm talking about losing your identity of who you was and this dream you had and why you sat in front of these people's face in the first place. And now you sitting in your room smoking rocks, snorting cocaine, taking some type of hallucinogen, drinking yourself to a stupor because you can't look yourself in the mirror because you know you let a man bust up your back. You know what I'm saying? Because you know you let this man convince you to let 3-4 different men hump on top of you, urinate on you, and all this other stuff. And you having a problem dealing with that because you can't believe what you allowed yourself to do because you fell for his dainties. This is why Daniel said, nah, I don't want nothing the king got. Man, that ain't no light matter, man. That's the same way when you read in Luke and you read in Matthew, when Satan came offering them riches, and in Luke, he said, this is what I can give to whomsoever I will give it. Because listen, man, at least in the music business, y'all know this. Hell, in entertainment, period, they look for poor people, man. You know what I'm saying? They look for people who hungry for fame. They're looking for any level of weakness that they can come in and exploit so that they can exploit you at a level that you could never comprehend. You know what I'm talking about? That's why I tell you, man, I don't know why you would want to push your children to be affiliated with anything in the entertainment business. And if you look it up, sports is contained in that. Sports are literally listed as entertainment. So as they call the WWE sports entertainment, the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, the NHL, they listed under it too. You know what I'm talking about? So why would you want to push your child towards anything pertaining to entertainment is insane to me. You can't sit here and talk about this stuff and you listen to a trial of a 19-year-old girl who got off in there and got bang-a-lang. Now, maybe could she been a freak before she got there? Yeah, she could have. I don't know. I don't know that woman. But I know this here, man. That woman probably did things she never imagined she'd do. You know what I'm talking about? Listen, man, they told you the casting couch wasn't for women. That was for men. Same way I told you, man, how could an executive feel so comfortable to walk up to Terry Crews and handshake his phallus? How could a man feel so comfortable enough to do that while his wife's standing right there and it's a multitude of witnesses to see you do it, and you did it with no thoughts, cares, or concern for reprisals? That means this is how these people get down, man. But you know what I'm saying? And you want to send your child to that? Or nigga, is you dumb? You say you got to be careful on being on top because you might be the only person to get to the top. Yeah, somebody gonna top you. You're gonna be like, you know what I'm talking about? You're gonna be like TD Jakes was accused of being. You're gonna end up being a power bottom. You know what I'm talking about? And a record executive always gonna be on top, and you don't want that. I don't say that facetiously. I say that in all seriousness and sincerity. If you talk about, oh yeah, man, you know the Illuminati and all this other stuff, why in the hell would you send your child to anything remotely close where they would get caught up in that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't sit back and talk about, yeah, you know the nigga be selling their soul. You know, my son, you know, I'm gonna hope he get to the NFL one day. So you want a nigga to bust up your son's back. For what? So he can buy you a house in a Bentley? You selfish bastard. You know what I'm talking about? Man, you know how the game go. It is what it is, baby. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. What you seeing, that's what say Candace Owens said this in relation to acting, since they literally have to disassociate. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Now acting is different because shoot. Man, you wonder why them, man, don't you hear all these stories about all these people in entertainment business, how they alcoholics and drug addicts for the most part? And that ain't never click in your brain, like, why are these people abusing substances like this? Because a lot of them can't look themselves in the mirror. They know what they done. See, you look at selling your soul like you signing a contract to the devil and say, like, yeah, I got your soul. You know that ain't how that works when the book say all souls are mine. Satan can't buy something that don't belong to him. Nigga, that's called theft. That's called dealing in stolen property. What they have when you talk about selling your soul, you sold yourself out. What you stand for, what you believe in, you sold out your womanhood. You sold out your manhood. You compromised your values. You compromised your ideals. You sacrificed your honor. And now you have to look yourself in the mirror every day and know what you've done. And some people can't do that. The ones who can look themselves in the mirror and know what they've done and have no cares or concerns, those are sociopaths and psychopaths. Those are different type of people. That's right. That's a proper way to put it, brother. They have to value themselves. You know what I'm saying? Now imagine this. Let's just put this on pause and just think about this here. And I'm trying to use the most antiseptic and technical terms possible, right? Imagine as a woman, you got to have the whole world hear a man urinated in your mouth. Now, you may have had a hard time looking yourself in the mirror, knowing you had that done to you. Not a whole world know it. Not a whole world know it. Now, the only way that won't affect you mentally, spiritually, and emotionally is if you have no soul. Meaning when you say somebody has no soul, that's when you start teetering into the psychopath and the sociopath realm. That's why I had told you, man, look at the video, man, of the dark psychology and all. You got to pay attention to that type of stuff because there's certain things that happen to people that cause their mind to develop to where they can behave and participate in certain activities and don't have the normal reaction or responses that the average person would have. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up and down. See, that's one thing that you knew you did that in a select few people. Not a whole world know it. Not a whole world know it. Now, she probably already had a hard time looking in the mirror about that anyway. $30 million don't make you feel good about that, man. You got to ask yourself, was $30 million worth that? I always say, what does a man profit if he gained the whole world and lose his soul? Was that really a gain for you? And the Lord was talking about literally losing your soul. But now let's talk about the literally losing your soul and then the figurative part of it, of losing your identity of who you were when you had this dream before you started. You gave that away. Was $30 million really worth that? What your soul is? And a lot of you niggas giving your soul away for less. You know what I'm talking about? Slow down, man. You got to think about that. A lot of these niggas giving their soul away for some subscribers and some status and some fame and a name. A lot of these boys giving their soul away for the opportunity for vagina. Man, you got to think about all that, man. You got to think about all that, man. A lot of these boys in the word giving their soul away for a little bit of money, for some land. Is it worth it? That's what you got to think about. Come on, Silver. 23-2 again, Proverbs. Dwayne Jamal. You all get in, please. Say they already know you'll give it away, then negotiate. Yeah, I mean, that's why they hit you with certain things to see what you'll do. Just like they say, man, if you put on a dress for $50,000, what you'll do for $100,000. If you'll do this for $250,000, what you'll do for $1 million. When you sit around and you looking at certain stuff, ain't a big deal. It may not be a big deal to you, but it's a big deal to the person offering it to you because they're gauging what you will be willing to compromise. Indeed, what boundaries are you willing to sacrifice? And as Terrence Howard put it, man, you can't never turn in your man card, cuz. I've been told y'all that a long time ago. As a man, you ain't never supposed to compromise. You ain't never supposed to compromise. Ever. Remember, you have to look at what compromise means by definition. It means to take less than what you want. So if you say your values are 1, 2, 3, you can't compromise and take 8, 9, and 10 because that's taking less than what you say you stand for. You can never compromise, ever. Said when Elijah told Ahab he sold himself to work evil. Indeed, absolutely, bro. Yeah, you conned yourself. You can't do that. And that's how Satan gonna come at you. Come on. 23:2 Proverbs.
And put a knife to your throat if you are a man given to appetite. Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat.
The deceitful what?
Meat.
What else?
Labor not to be rich. Cease from your own wisdom.
Cease from your own what?
Wisdom.
Why?
Will you set your eyes upon that which is not?
For
Rich certainly make themselves wings.
they fly away.
As an eagle toward showering.
Eat not you eat you not. Excuse me.
The bread of him that have an evil eye.
Neither desire you.
His dainty meat.
Tell him what an evil eye is, man. He said, don't fool with nobody. Don't eat nothing from a nigga got an evil eye. Don't take nothing from it.
Evil is raw. Bad, evil, disagreeable. Millennial.
Disagreeable, I-E. Nigga got an evil eye. Don't fool with them. They got a trick up their sleeve. They using that to be able to murk you later. Case in point, and I know I probably told y'all this before, just for lack of a better example that come to my brain, it's the same way you in jail and a nigga giving you stuff all the time. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't saying that on some like somebody trying to do something to you sexually, but it's a con. You know what I'm saying? It's a con. Yeah, I got you, bro. Get whatever you want. The person trying to get you in debt, and then ain't no telling what they gonna ask you to do. I need you to smuggle this. I need you to stab him. I need you to do this. He had an evil eye towards you. You know what I'm saying? It's the same example, just using this example of that trial. He might have seen that woman and said, oh, I'm gonna give you these jewels, I'm gonna give you this, I'm gonna give you that. Whole time he had an evil eye towards her. This was deceitful meats. Now, again, I'm not saying that to condemn or condone these individuals because I have not researched anything in this trial, and I don't plan on doing it, other than legal definitions to cause ignorant and unlearned individuals to understand how the legal system works. Because I've been to trial before. It was amazing to me to see how all many grown people didn't know how jury selection works. But then I had to remember what country we live in. Because you niggas could tell me about baddies. You could tell me about the movie Sinners. You could tell me about television shows in great detail. But you don't even know how the goddamn legal system work in the country you live in. Because it never crossed your mind that you might be in it one day. Whether you ever plan on doing something illegal or not, common damn sense to tell you would want to know how the society operates that you live in. Because you never know what might happen. But maybe I'm too optimistic to think that people would have that level of concern of their own life. You know what I'm talking about? Because I was telling that other day, yeah, I went to trial before, man. Listen, man, my personal opinion, law is not that difficult. Unless you talk about constitutional and corporate law. That's just my personal opinion. Criminal law is not that difficult. You just need to understand statutory laws or whatever the crime is and be a persuasive communicator of your arguments. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Because that's all they're doing. The only time that really understanding of case law comes into play is when you file motions and appeals. You know what I'm saying? And usually the lawyer isn't the one doing all that digging for case law. It's the paralegal and other low-level individuals at that law firm that they may be attached to, say the state attorney's office, and even still then, just still paralegals. You know what I'm saying? That's doing all of that. So it's convincing people that this person did not, by a reasonable doubt, did not violate the statutory definition of a crime, or you're trying to convince the jury that these people have violated the statutory definition of a crime. Because I'm going to tell you, pretrial proceedings ain't nothing happening. They're going to walk you in there. They're going to say something. They're going to walk you back out. Because those three people will be negotiating behind the scenes or whatever they got going on if they're going to offer you something or you're going to go to trial. I know you might think it's great and complex. Trial procedure is a little complex, but it's simple at the same time. You know what I'm saying? This fourth is what these people can do and can't do. Because I'm going to tell you something. When I went to trial on that case, man, when the people pulled up on me, my homeboy pulled up, man. He was like, boy, be careful, boy, advice out here, boy. I'm like, God damn it, boy, you done served the police. I should have gave that nigga my dope, but I gave him their money, though. Because he was coming to buy some weed from me. I said, take this. I'm like, go. He drives. When Vice come around, because we was in Justina. When Vice come around the corner, I had some money in my hand. So what I did is I used the money as a diversion tactic. I put my hand in the air with the money and let it go and let it drop because I wanted their mind to focus on that so he could get out of it. You know what I'm talking about? Boom, when they come, they like, where the money at? I said, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. So fast forward, we get to trial. I tell my lawyer, I'm like, hey, man, they going to say I put that money in that blue car, man. He said, no, they ain't going to do that. I said, yeah, they going to do it. No, they ain't going to do it. I say, nigga, you know how I know they going to do it? He say, how? Because if I was them, I would do it. You know why? Because that's common sense. You want to put that thought process in the jury's mind. Now, he did it too. He objected. The judge sustained it and told the jury to disregard it. I say it's too late. It's in their brain. You can say, sustain, disregard, but human beings, once they hear stuff, and I'm not saying that was the determining factor, but you know what I'm saying? But this is common sense. That's not some type of great legal positioning and movement. It's about crafting something to persuade people in a particular direction. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at things, that's what most people are trying to do. So when you got somebody who has an abundance of wealth and riches and they trying to shower this stuff on you, remember your law tell you not to take a gift because gifts blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous. So you have to keep that in mind. That certain people are playing certain games. Because you already know, you know the song say the best things in life are free. You know that song, don't you? I need money because that's what I want. God damn, man, that ain't even a young record. My God, today. I thought for certain he was gonna know that one. If he knew stroking, I thought he'd know that one. You know what I'm talking about? But nevertheless, though, the reality of life is most things ain't free. Not with most wicked people. You know what I'm saying? They want something. And a lot of these people, boy, they want your soul. You say, I want to be rich is the name of that song. You know, I never knew the name of that song all the days of my life till just now. You say they ain't the only one thing about that, right? That you know they took the hot dog from the store and you filed. That you're gonna need to be working in corporate American law. You'll definitely need to know. Yeah, definitely. Now, corporate law and constitutional law, that's something different. And I definitely remember that with Mike and The Wire, where he didn't take Marlowe's money. And Marlowe didn't know what to do with that, because that's telling you that's somebody who's not persuaded by what you can offer me. I don't want that, because I know that there's an underlying motive on why you're offering this to me. You know what I'm saying? Which is what makes a lot of people be mistrustful with a lot of things, because a lot of people believe that people have ulterior motives. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't believe that, nigga, I ain't got no motive. The motive is I just wanted you to have it, or I just wanted to help you out, or you know what I'm saying? Nigga, I don't give a damn about none of that. Unfortunately, it is those type of people are in the minority. Most people are always seeking to gain an advantage. I was telling Sister Ada, man, about the 48 laws of power. And you got niggas, that's a demon book. See, that's why people be behind with stuff anyway, because you niggas dumb. You know what I'm saying? And when I say dumb, meaning you think some old pissant peon nigga reading that book is really doing, this nigga ain't doing nothing, man. You know what I'm talking about? I say, man, I read that book before I knew any word. And that book stood out to me because I like historical figures. That book has nothing but historical figures in it. And it is about power dynamics. And that's something that as a man, every man should have a strong grasp and understanding of power dynamics, what that looks like, how it's done. Not to use it to your advantage to try to get over on some woman around the corner. You know what I'm talking about? You got dudes talking about niggas using that to rule over a congregation. If a nigga using 48 laws of power to rule over 15 people, that nigga ought to be on an express trip to hell. Because this nigga is a miserable individual. But what it can do is allow you to see when individuals are using power dynamics against you in every area of your life. So-called black people are behind in a multitude of areas, not because of just white supremacy, because that is a factor, not because that you are considered to be a second-class citizen, because that is a factor, not because you're being oppressed, because that is a factor, but the fact that we do not understand power dynamics in any shape, form, or fashion. And the thing is, your adversaries do. And even when you look in the words, you can see elements of power dynamics that are detailed in that book. Because these are real people in the book. Looks like it's real people in that book. Joseph Stalin was a real person. Louis XIV was a real person. You know what I'm saying? Roman Emperor Constantine was a real person. I've named people to y'all before. Mao Zedong was a real person. These are real people who did real things. There's a Jewish dude who was in Parliament over there who his name escapes me, but I can see his face right now. A real person. Vladimir Lenin, real person. These are real people. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing new under the sun. Now, some people may not have a desire to understand the workings and machinations of human nature and power dynamics, and that's your business. I myself, I'm not one of those people. The reason being that when you can understand those things, more specifically human nature, then you can understand why people think, behave, and do the things that they do. And maybe you could be more effective in reaching a soul or understanding their plight, that you could actually be a comforter of some sort to someone. You know what I'm saying? This is how you won't look at everybody through the lens of your eyes and your mind and your thoughts, that you understand that they're not you. That they're an individual person with an individual experiences that have affected and molded the way that they think, behave, and see the world, that have nothing to do with you. And then maybe you could actually show some level of mercy, grace, compassion, and loving kindness. You know what I'm talking about? He said, man, history repeats itself. History is power, knowledge, and when you reach wisdom, the wisdom is Solomon, true depression of the situation sets in. And that is a true story. Come on, Zilla. Where we at with verse 7? So that one came from.
For as he think in his heart, so is he.
So as he think in his heart, what?
So is he.
And eat and drink, say he to you.
But his heart is not with you.
Look at him. He said, as he think in his heart, so is he. But he tell you, go ahead, eat and drink, but he don't fool with you, though. Go ahead.
The morsel you have eaten shall you vomit up and loose your sweet words.
He said, man, you're going to spit that up and everything you got to say, gone then. But we can't, as a man thinks, so is he. Tell him what think he is right now, man. It's just for a little perspective, man. That's why the Lord ain't fooled with all them wicked niggas, man.
That is shahar, to split open, reason out, calculate, reckon, estimate.
So you to reason out and calculate. So as a man reasons and calculates, so is he. By their fruits, you gonna know. You know what I'm talking about? That's how he reason out and calculates. That's how he gonna behave. Come on back to Ephesians, man. The one thing I've noticed since I've been in this word, that most of these people do not care about anybody's behavior, whether good or bad, whether sad or joyful. They don't care.
Did you want me to read Isaiah 55?
Oh, yeah, we did. Come on. Let me see what I want out of that. Because that's when he mentioned that with the thoughts. I want you to, you can pick it up at verse 1. I ain't gonna hurt nobody.
Hope everyone that thirsts, come you to the waters, and he that have no money, come you buy and eat. Yea, come, buy wine and milk without money and without price. Wherefore do you spend money for that which is not bread?
He say, man, why you steady going around there buying that bag behind dope when people sell it?
And your labor for that which satisfies
He
not.
say, man, that ain't no bread you eating over there, man.
Hearken diligently unto me, and eat you that which is good. Let your soul delight itself in fatness. Incline your ear, come unto me.
And your soul or what?
Shall live.
He said, if you hear the word of Yahushua, your soul will live. Go ahead.
And I'll make an everlasting covenant with you.
I'll make a what?
Everlasting
That's
covenant.
how you know that there's a covenant that is a faith, which is the righteousness of God. Because what he said, read it again, verse 3.
Incline your ear.
Do what to your ear? To your ear?
Incline your ear.
Tell them what incline mean, man. You on the incline bench? You ain't been in no gym.
I went last week.
That boy said I went last week. Don't disrespect me.
So I had to get my levels checked.
You had to get your what checked?
My body fat percentage and all that shit.
This nigga say he had to get his body fat percentage checked. Man, this nigga here crazy. What was they gonna check? Bones?
I had to see. It's always good to know. That's 12%.
Now that's about the average state what most men have. Your 12% don't count because you ain't got no muscle. I didn't say they pinching your calves. Hell no.
That's incline is natah. That's to stretch out, extend, spread out, pitch, turn, to incline, bend, to both.
You bend your ear? How many of you bend your ear? He say incline your ear and do what?
Come unto me.
Now he say come on closer, and your soul will do what?
Shall live.
And I'll make a what?
Everlasting covenant with you, the sure mercies of David.
This is the covenant of faith. You know what I'm talking about? This is what they don't want to hear, but he telling it to you. He didn't say incline your ear and come get some law. Because they already had that. Then he say what you'll get after he make this everlasting covenant with you. You'll get the what?
Sure mercies of David.
Ain't that what Jeremiah 31 say? I make a covenant with you, not like what I made with your fathers, and I put my law in your inward parts, and your sins and iniquities I will remember no more. My God, today. Come on.
Behold, I have given him for a witness to the people.
Now you got to ask yourself, who is the him he's given for a witness to the people? See, we ain't even finished the witness. Because we were talking about when Paul said, Elohim bear me record. When we read what the Lord said, what the Lord said. He said, I got a witness greater than John. I got a witness greater than John. And what he said bear witness of him, said his words, his actions bear witness. You know what a lot of people's problem is? Their actions gonna bear witness to another other than use a fake, funky dog face bastard. That's what it bear witness to. It bear witness use a miserable, malicious, and spiteful, no good, dirty dog. You know what I'm talking about? You're evil, you're unkind, you're unmerciful, you're arrogant and you're proud. You're wrathful. We had to tell the dude today. You read all their word, man, but you ain't slow to speak. That man tell you be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. Now think about that, man. And it's for everybody. You know what I'm saying? That you got to sit back and look at yourself. Read them Psalms 4 and 1 real fast. We'll come right back. I'll finish Isaiah 55. Come on, read that Psalm 4 real fast. 4 and 1.
Hear me when I call, O Elohim of my righteousness. You have enlarged me when I was in distress. Mm-hmm. Have mercy upon me and hear my prayer. Mm-hmm. O you sons of men, how long will you turn my esteem into shame?
How long will you turn my honor into disrespect?
How long will you love vanity and seek after leasing?
Tell him what leasing is, man. He ain't talking about you leasing no cars. He said, if I dare say Yahuwah gave his son because man would never repent. No, not for the most part, most things. But it's always a remnant.
That is kazab, a lie, untruth, falsehood, deceptive thing.
Look what he tell you. How long you gonna love lying? You know how many people love lying? And if you love lying, that means you just like the devil. Because what is it? Said a whisperer, a slanderer, a talebearer, a liar. And a lot of these niggas are scandal mongers. Always looking for the next scandal to put on somebody, man. You know what I'm gonna tell you? I done told you before, I'm gonna tell you it again. You got to be a wicked nigga to go looking for sin. You got to be a wicked nigga. I'm talking about a wicked nigga. Because your God don't go looking for sin. You know what I'm saying? He don't go looking for sin. You know what he do? He searched the heart to see what's in it. He tried man so they can show forth their own work. He don't go looking for sin. He gonna put you in a situation for you to show if you love him or if you love sin. He don't go looking for, let me find some sin on sin. I know he got some sin around here. Well, you a wicked nigga. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this a long time, and let me tell you something, man. I ain't never put on no shoes. I ain't never got on no bicycle. I ain't never got in no car and looked for sin on nobody. Say, I'm not the one to lie, but I need to save my life. I know that right, man. And I ain't saying that to big up myself. I'm saying to the point of, even when I was in the street, man, I ain't looking for no dirt on nobody.
People who want people to take down with them.
Yeah, you got people who do want to take people down for their own warped motivations. I don't know what those motivations are. I don't even care to want to dig to find out. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, I know there's some human nature aspects go into that, you know, certain psychology. That's when you study the individual, if that person happens to be an adversary against you, to understand your enemy so you know how to move against them so that you wouldn't be caught off guard and be destroyed. You know what I'm saying is that, in my personal opinion, when you go on a diligent search to try to find fault with somebody else, there's no way that you could be focused on anything that you're supposed to be doing. Because your energy is dedicated and directed towards somebody else. Not only is that some type of mental derangement, it's definitely some sort of sick emotional attachment. You know what I'm talking about? And it's absolutely 100% weird. You know what I'm talking about? Especially for people, because I'm telling you, what Satan say he go through the earth, he walking to and fro, right? And then Peter told you this, your adversary, the devil, go through the earth like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour, because he out here looking for faults. He looking for your faults to use them against you. So see, the issue is not that you have faults, but it's what he told you to do, confess your faults and pray for one another, that you might be healed. Because if you can confess the faults and you praying for one another and then you be healed, that which is, when I say fault, I'm not necessarily saying that you out here sinning. I'm talking about weaknesses. You know what I'm talking about? Now, faults in that particular passage very well may be meaning sin by definition. But I'm more so referring to weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? You may, like I said, every man knows the plague of his own heart. You know your infirmities or your weaknesses. And it's better to be in bond with people who can help strengthen those weaknesses than to be dolo and ignoring those weaknesses and get taken down like a wrestler. I'm talking about a Greco-Roman wrestler. I say that because wrestlers are some of the strongest people you ever want to fight. And that's why you see a lot of them have extreme success in MMA, because that's a different type of strength. You know what I'm talking about? Bump all the, oh, we got homosexual jokes. I'm talking about, yeah, you don't want to get in no shoot fight with no wrestler. I'm talking about a real wrestler. That man gonna hurt you. You know what I'm talking about? So Yahushua will see who he will and protect him. Say people talk about Adam and he did that. Absolutely. Absolutely. You don't go out here looking for no fault on nobody. You know what I'm saying? That's why I know those wrestlers dominate MMA, because, man, wrestlers got a different type of strength and an understanding of the manipulating the human body. Emma, you see what I did there? That made me think about Yoshi. Yoshi told the dude, he said, I will manipulate your body against your will. I ain't gonna lie, boy. If I was in a verbal altercation that was leaning towards this is going to be a physical altercation, and somebody tell me I'm gonna manipulate your body against your will, I'm gonna apologize to him. What's wrong with him? Come on, sir. Verse 4, Psalm 4.
Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed.
Commune with your own heart upon your bed, man. Examine yourselves whether you be in the faith or not. Isaiah 55, verse 4. Behold, Isaiah 55, verse 4. Isaiah 55 and verse 4. Behold, I've given him a witness to the people, a leader and a commander to the people. Sit. Give me witness, leader, and commander. You know about Cobra Commander, don't you? You know Cobra Commander? Okay.
Witness is aid, witness, testimony, evidence of things, witness of people, a recorder, a prince, a witness.
This is a prince who's a witness of a prince. He said that's what he gonna give. Now, listen, what's a commander, a leader, excuse me.
That's indeed leader, ruler, captain, prince, overseer.
That's an overseer, a ruler, or a captain. What's the commander?
That is sabah, to command, charge, give orders, to lay charge, give charge to order.
So he give orders. Now, who is this person that you gonna look at? Well, amen, brother. Well, that's the Lord, boy. That's Yahushua, because he said, I will give him a witness to the people, a leader, a commander to the people. So when he say, I have witness greater than that of John, because my witness is in heaven and my record is on high. There is a witness. That's why when this man say, ain't what it was he mentioned to you people. Number one, that's why he told you to search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they're bearing witness of him. You know what I'm talking about? And you got dudes arguing all day. Jesus said in the Old Testament, show me his name. See, that's how I know you dumb. You know why I say that's how I know you dumb? Because you looking for a name instead of looking for actions. That's why he say, my works bear witness of me. This is how you know that a lot of people are not 100 like they say they do, because you listen to niggas pontificate. You know what I'm talking about? But in their pontification, they ain't nothing but expelling flagellation, nigga. It's booty coming out their mouth. It's stank. They ain't saying nothing. Because instead of that, you're supposed to see if the words match the actions. He said, if you don't get John 10 and 36, man. Listen what this man said now. John 10 and 36.
Say you of him whom the Abba hath sanctified and sent into the world, you blaspheme, because I said I am the son of Elohim.
Come on.
If I do not the works of my Abba, believe me not.
He said, if I don't do the what?
Works of my
He
Abba.
said, if my actions don't bear witness that I'm of my Father, don't believe me.
But if I do, though you believe not me, believe the works.
He said, if you don't believe what I say, look at my actions.
That you may know and believe that the Abba is in me and I in him.
He said, if you don't believe what I say, look at my actions. And you know, for most people who in the word, actions are the last thing that they ever gonna look at. Let me tell you something. Most of these people who in the word that you see them justifying Sean Combs are the same people who you'll see justify their elder, pastor, preacher, whatever they call them when he get caught out here doing something wicked. Because they don't care about godly actions. They don't care about manly conduct. They don't care about honorable behavior. They don't care about anything. They care about having respect to persons to justify a wicked, dirty bastard. No matter what he does, no matter who he does it to, because of the status that he holds. But Yahuwah don't care nothing about no status. He said he chose the base things of the world to tear down the mighty. Because what's the first thing we want to scream, right? They tearing down our black men. Now that nigga tore himself down. You know how we know he tore himself down? Because if you wasn't a common freak, a control freak, a villainous psychopath, you wouldn't be in this situation and circumstance. And you think I'm supposed to feel sorry for this nigga because he made some rap tunes you used to like, my nigga? Because he had some money? Because you used to wear some Sean John jeans when you was in high school? Man, I don't give a damn about that wicked nigga, man. I don't. And this is why I told you I ain't never been pro-black, man. You got to be pro-Yahuwah. Being pro-black will blind your eyes, man, to any manner of wickedness. And I ain't pro Yasharal, man. I'm pro Yahuwah, man. Because being pro Yahuwah, your eyes will be open to righteousness all the time. When you pro Yasharal, it's about the people, it's about the nation. You'll turn your eyes to wickedness, man, every chance you get. You'll make excuses and justify wickedness every chance you get. Saying someone had the nerve to relate him to Samson. Whoever was the individual who related him to Samson, I hope by the grace of Yahuwah that he sends 15 wild mules to kick that nigga square in his anus. Because that's just completely disrespectful to Yahuwah, not Samson. Yahuwah brought Samson to Delilah for the purpose of killing the Philistines. You know what I'm talking about? If you go read the story, this wasn't Samson just being horny. If you read the top of this, let me get it for y'all, man, because y'all might think I'm making this up. I'm gonna say, man, Puppy has been mentally deranged for a long time talking about Pharaoh. Absolutely. Let me read this to you, man. This is Judges 14, talking about lust bringing down a strong man. Let me tell you something. People have been consistently and constantly misconstrued that Samson went after this woman for lust. Because that's not what happened. Let me read just Judges 14 and 1. Matter of fact, 16 is better. He said 16 and 1. Then went Samson to Gaza and saw there a harlot and went unto her. And it was told the Gazites, saying, Samson is come hither, and they compassed in and laid wait for him all the night in the gate of the city, and were quiet all the night, saying, in the morning when it is day, we shall kill it. Now let's look at verse 4. And it came to pass afterwards that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. See, that's not lust. It said he what, Civic?
Love.
He loved this woman. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to try to find a verse where it mentioned this here. Verse 4 of Judges 14 is what I was referring to. And well, let me read verse 3. Then his father and his mother, well, I got to read one. Samson went down to Timnath and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughter of the Philistines. And he came up and told his father and mother, said, I've seen a woman in Timnath of the daughter of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me to wife. Then his father and his mother said unto him, is there never a woman among the daughters of your brethren or among all my people that you go take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? Samson said unto his father, get her for me, for she pleased me well. But his father and his mother knew not that it was of Yahuwah that he saw occasion against the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines had dominion over Yasharal. So when you see him steady messing with these Philistine women, it's of God, so God could kill them people because they were ruling over the Philistines. And this is the way that he desired to bring that to pass. Shalom, Brother Herman, man. You know what I'm talking about? Now you think about that. Think about that. That sound like lust to you? Or that sound like he declared to a man what his thought gonna be? You know what I'm saying? The goings of a way of man, but his steps are ordered by Yahuwah. That's Yahuwah's doing. Because what happened after Delilah did all that to Samson, man? Samson killed all them people. But they'll tell you, that man wasn't caught up with no lust. That was of God. If God didn't want him to have affinity for Delilah, he wouldn't have had one. You think it was a trick to get Samson. It was a trick to kill them. They don't want to hear that. They don't like that, do it. Let me ask y'all this question. I ain't being funny. How many of y'all knew that judges said that Samson didn't pick a woman of his own people because that was of Yahuwah? How many of y'all knew that was in there? Matter of fact, let me reverse that. How many of y'all thought he was fooling with them women because he just was horny? Because you trying to put that on that man because of these old undisciplined wee niggas out here. Talking about Puffy got like Samson. Puffy been around here doing this to a multitude of women, man. And men. Let's not leave out the men. That's disrespectful to say that about Samson. Samson wasn't never out here checking for no booty. Samson ain't never want no male prostitutes and engage with them and want the bodily fluids of a prostitute smeared across his pectoral muscles. Come on, man. And you know what the sad part would be? It'll be a nigga who say he know the word and believe in God who will open his mouth and compare this wicked nigga to Samson. I promise to you, boy, 15 wild mules need to catch that nigga, kick him in his butt, then turn around and kick him in his mouth. That's a wicked nigga, but God. That's terrible. That's just, I don't even know what to say about that. What you hold to? I'm back in Isaiah 55 and 5. I don't even know what to say about that. I'm trying to figure out and what. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Say Samson wasn't dancing in the video. Now, to be all fairness now, you know what I'm saying? Just to be fair. Most people do believe that Samson was involved with Delilah out of lust. Because that's how that story is communicated from what I've been able to ascertain throughout the course of my life. When I hear people discuss that or use comparisons when dudes get caught up with a woman. You know what I'm saying? Because the story is always communicated that Samson was some lustful man who just wanted to sleep with all these different type of women and this, that, there, and the third. When the narrative doesn't say that. Nisha said, I thought that about Samson before. I think that's the perspective that's normally taught, like how it's taught that Adam was deceived. Yeah, and I know that. So I know when the person said that, that's probably, I could probably say with 99.9% accuracy that that's probably the framework of thought process that they had, because that's probably how it was communicated to them, because most people probably don't read Judges 13 to the conclusion of the book of Judges. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, where Samson's story concludes at what, about chapter 17 or 18? You know what I'm saying? Before it gets into the priest and his concubine, you know what I'm saying, to finish out the book. So most people don't know that. And because that most people want to use certain people to prove a point, look at Samson was looking to take a wife. You know what I'm saying? Like he had one wife, but then the wife was given to somebody else. You seen in 14, he seen a woman, he didn't want to smash her, he wanted to marry her. Now you seen him hit a harlot, and then he seen Delilah, and he loved her. So this man wasn't looking to hit women. He was looking for a wife. He was looking for a wife. And then he happened to, but him wanting Philistine women, you just seen, because you seen his mom and daddy like, come on, bro. What you got going on? You can't get, you got to get an uncircumcised Philistine? Man, what you want one of them for? And then look what it said. They were oblivious that this was of Yahuwah. And Samson was too. Because all of this was to bring to the esteem of Yahuwah and to free the people. You know what I'm saying? Which is the biggest part of it. It was to free the people from under the rule and oppression of the Philistines. But don't nobody want to pay attention to that part. They want to pay attention to the woman wearing this nigga down from nagging him. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole nother conversation that I will not delve into at this particular time. But nevertheless, Isaiah 55:5. Behold, you shall call a nation you know not, and nations know not you shall run unto you, because of Yahuwah your Elohim, and for the Kadash one of Yasharal, for he have esteemed you. So people who didn't know Yahushua, he said they're going to come to him because of what the Father's done for him. Seek you Yahuwah while he may be found, and call you upon him while he is near. See, one thing you don't never want to do is try to seek God when he can't be found and when he ain't close, because then it's too late. He don't care. Let the wicked forsake his way. Let the unrighteous man his thoughts. Let him return unto Yahuwah, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our Elohim, for he will abundantly pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. For Shamaim are higher than the Arats, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. And you know what the beauty of that is? That's why he told you to make you a new heart, a new spirit, and let the mind of a Mashiach be in you. And then his thoughts would be your thoughts, and his ways would be your ways. But when you want to keep your mind, then shoot, you're going to have a problem. I just got this notification, boy. They say the Knicks about to go ahead and take these boys out. I ain't going to lie. If the New York Knicks was to win the NBA Finals, this country would be insufferable for about 90 to 120 days. I ain't going to lie. Because them niggas ain't had a championship in 50 years. They ain't going to know how to act. You hear me? But come on, man.
I was in Ephesians 1 still.
Yeah, Ephesians 1 and 3. Now, I'm declining, but they ain't going to know how to act. They already don't know how to act. Right now, they going to lose their brain. I guess that's how it be. That's what they did in Chicago when the Cubs won. You know what I'm saying? City ain't won a championship in a long time, but they going to go crazy. Not crazy, like destructive crazy.
They might be saying.
You say, I just need each team to get their points. You right here paying parlays. 1 and 3. Don't get your money back.
It said, Baruch the Elohim and Abba of our Lord, Yahushua HaMashiach, who have baruched us with all spiritual blessings and heavenly places in the Mashiach, according as he have chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be Kadash and without blame before him in love.
Note that he said, when he chose you to be set apart and without blame in the love of God. You know why? Because the just live by their faith. And since they live by their faith, they would live blamelessly. Go ahead.
Having predestinated us unto the adoption of children by Yahushua HaMashiach to himself, according to the good pleasure of his will, to the praise of the esteem of his grace, wherein he hath made us accepted in the beloved, in whom we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins according to the riches of his grace.
Wherein
he have abounded toward us in all wisdom and prudence,
having made known unto us
the mystery of his will,
according to his
good pleasure,
which he hath purposed
in himself,
that in the dispensation
of the fullness of times he might gather together in one all things in the Mashiach, both which are in Shamahim and which are on earth, even in him.
In whom
also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestinated according to the purpose of him who work all things after the counsel of his own will.
Notice he say he work all things after the counsel of his what?
Own will.
That's what you seen with Samson. Go ahead.
That we should be to the praise of his esteem who first trusted in the Mashiach.
And whom you
also, after that you have heard the word of the
gospel
of your salvation.
And whom also
after that you believe
you were sealed
with that Kadash spirit of promise.
So listen. I'm mentioning this here because this is going to get to being betrothed in faithfulness, loving kindness, and righteousness. And notice that he said that after you, whom you trusted, after you heard the word of truth of the good tidings of your salvation. He said, whom also that after you believe you were sealed, which is the earnest of our inheritance until the redemption of the purchased possession, until he come and buy you back. Meaning at the resurrection of the dead. But let me ask you this question, because people always argue, what is the gospel? So I ask of you, ladies and gentlemen, scripturally, and when I say scripturally, I mean from Genesis to Malachi, no Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, no epistle letters. From Genesis to Malachi, scripturally, how would you define the gospel? How would you define that? What passage would you use to define that? How would y'all define that? Now, y'all know I got two ways that I would define that first quota. You know what I'm talking about? We going 21 zip on the sticks, man. Go ahead and stop.
34:6.
That ain't the first one. What verse in Isaiah 28, dear? Because I will, whatever y'all offer, I will lay it on the table. Now, Exodus 34:6 is actually secondary. That is one, but that's secondary. That's not in the first slide. Of course, you know that most people will say, okay, it's the death, burial, and resurrection. And that's just repeating. You know what I'm saying? You could say that, but you know. What verse you referring to, Derek, man? Go to Isaiah 28. You probably talking about from verse 9 on down. Well, Darius hit my number one. You say not the best one? No, don't do yourself like that, cuz. Read Isaiah 28 and 9. Then Psalms 40 and 7. Oh, that's 28, blood. That's 28. 28 and 14, book Isaiah. Oh, that is 28. I'm tripping. I'm thinking about 9. My bad, bro. I apologize. I'm tripping. 28 and 14.
So wherefore hear the word of Yahuwah, you scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem. Because you have said, we have made a covenant with death. And
you
with
made
hell,
a what?
Covenant with death.
And with hell.
Are we at agreement?
So you've made a covenant with Muth and you in agreement with Sheol. What else?
When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Elohim, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation.
A sure
stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believes shall not make haste.
He that believes shall not make haste. He that believes shall not. Then he will bring the lively stone. Yeah, indeed. Then that's what Peter referred to. See, you look at that. That's good news. Because he literally said, you've made an agreement with death, and with hell you are at agreement. You've made a covenant with death, excuse me. And with hell you are in agreement. Psalms 40 and 7, but you could make it 4. See, Brother Herman tried to convince himself his was bad. It's not, though. Psalms 40 and 4. I mean, my bad.
Baruch is the man that make Yahuwah his trust.
Baruch is the man that make Yahuwah his what?
His trust.
Why?
And respect not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies.
He don't respect the proud, nor do he go turn aside the lie. What else with that, man?
Many, O Yahuwah, my Elohim, are your wonderful works.
Many works.
Which you have done, and your thoughts, which are toward us, they cannot be reckoned.
They can't be reckoned.
I will declare and speak. They are more than can be numbered. Sacrifice and offering you did not desire.
Come on.
My ears have you opened. Burnt offering and sin offerings have you not required.
What else?
Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book.
It is
written of me.
Now see, that's the pause, but the good news come behind it. Come on.
I delight to do your will, O my Elohim.
Come on.
Yeah, your laws within my heart. I have preached righteousness in the great congregation.
Oh, he said I did what?
Preached righteousness in the great congregation.
You think this man talking about preaching some law, statutes, and commandments, man? That's not what he talking about. How you know that? Listen, next thing he say.
I have not hid your righteousness within my heart.
He said you keeping them commandments. He said that's what? That's your righteousness. He didn't say that was his.
I have declared your faithfulness.
He declared your what?
Your faithfulness and your salvation.
Oh, and your what?
And your salvation.
Tell him what word salvation is. That's good news in its totality. If I'm declaring the salvation, that means that you are bereft of salvation. That would be good news to you.
Teshua, salvation, deliverance.
Deliverance. Continue. Psalms 40 and is what, 11? Are you in 12?
Still in verse 10. Just a second.
Psalms 40 and 10.
Said, I have not hid your righteousness within my heart. I have declared your faithfulness and your salvation. I have not concealed your loving kindness and your truth from the
I ain't concealed your what?
Your loving kindness and your truth. From the
Notice he said, I haven't concealed your kaseh or your mouth. That means he's declaring good news. If I haven't hid your loving kindness, that means you would be without it now, wouldn't you? Go ahead.
Withhold not you your tender mercies from me, O Yahuwah. Let your loving kindness and your truth continually preserve me.
That's good, man. Exodus 34 and 6. After that, Isaiah 52 and 7. Isaiah 52 and 7 is the dominant one for me. But all these are good. The ones y'all offered is good. If anybody else has anything they want to offer, by all means do so.
Saying Yahuwah passed by before him and proclaimed, Yahuwah Elohim,
merciful,
gracious, long-suffering, and abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin.
That's good news. If you caught up in iniquity, transgression, and sin, ain't that good news to you? If he say he showed mercy on the thousands, ain't that good news to you? If he telling you that he's slow to wrath when you in transgression, ain't that good news to you? Is it not good news for you to hear that this man is abundant in goodness and truth and merciful and gracious? Brother Jack got Jeremiah 23:5, but give me verse 1. Listen to it.
Said, woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith Yahuwah.
Therefore,
thus saith Yahuwah Elohim Yasharal,
against
the pastors that feed my people,
you have scattered
my flock,
and driven
them away,
and have
not visited them.
Behold,
I'll visit upon you the evil of your doing.
That man say, man, you got the word. You ain't even went and seen these people. You ain't went and seen nothing they got going on. You ain't gave them no word. You ain't did nothing. He said, I will do what?
Gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries.
Whether I have
driven them
and will bring them again
to their fold,
and they shall be
fruitful and increase.
Bringing them to the folds is bringing them back to the land. And I will set up what?
Shepherds over them.
Which will do what?
Which shall feed
What
them.
did Peter tell you? Feed the what? The flock. See, but remember, he said, why you buying milk that ain't no good? Why you buying bread that ain't gonna fill you up? Man, a lot of niggas buying moldy, dusty bread, boy. Let me tell you something, man. I remember the first time we bought some, we had orange haze. It wasn't purple haze. My homeboy said, well, you ain't gonna be able to smoke that, boy. You gonna pass out. I said, you lying to me. Number one, I was a pothead. Number two, at the time, I had a lot of stress. So you know what I'm talking about? I already knew my cuz shoot, this gonna calm my nerves, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I got some real stuff going on right now. You know what I'm talking about? But nevertheless, when you are accustomed to receiving subpar product, subpar information, subpar preaching, subpar anything, you will begin to believe that this is top tier stuff. Matter of fact, let me scratch all of that. Let me use a better situation and circumstance. Processed foods. You eat these processed foods and they taste great and they seem fantastic, but they're devoid of any nutrients or any beneficial product whatsoever. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't nothing in them. You effectively just ate cardboard. It just tastes good. You ate some sprinkled up cardboard. Absolutely. And on top of that, full of poison, which is what bad teaching will do. It's full of poison. It's going to kill you. You know what I'm talking about? So you think, so when somebody actually bring you whole foods, like real food, you don't want that. It's nasty. You don't know what it is like to eat an orange and actually taste orange. You know what I'm talking about? You eating lean meats, you ain't never had none of that before. You know that's wild. That nigga Darius told me about that, and I seen that video right after that nigga talking about he's a what he said? A habitual glizzy gobbler. That's wild. You know what I'm talking about? It is refreshing, Mika, when you want to be refreshed. But some people like quantity over quality. Which is why a lot of dudes get caught up with scallywags, because she might be full of the quantity of the size of gluteus muscles you may like and the size of mammary glands that entice you. But she has no quality in her character whatsoever. You know what I'm talking about? But she has the quantity of physical attributes that you find desirable. And then you wonder why this woman dragging you through the pits of hell like he told you a harlot would. You know what I'm talking about? Instead of that quality woman who's a virtuous woman who's a crown to her husband. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, you don't want that because her booty ain't big enough or her mammary glands ain't big enough. You know what I'm saying? Now, we know that don't nobody want to wake up looking at no mud duck, so I understand that part. I can't knock you for that. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, you would still want quality. Most people don't like quality. You know why most people don't like quality? Because quality costs. You know what I'm saying? Quality costs. There's a price to pay for it. And most people don't want to pay that price. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. My homegirl used to say that when we was in high school. That's what she used to say to mess with unattractive women who seemed to have issues with her. You know what I'm saying? I can't say she was rude, to say the least, unnecessarily at sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But I think she felt like that because she felt like she was pretty and she could fight and would fight. You know what I'm saying? So, people who would fight don't really care about losing. They tend to be a little reckless with their words in their youth. You know what I'm talking about? Like this here, because they gonna fight regardless, so they don't be caring. You know what I'm talking about? But come on back to Jeremiah 23. 23 and 4.
Say, now set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them. They shall fear no more, nor be dismayed. Neither shall they be lacking, saith Yahuwah.
Behold, catch you lacking, baby.
Come, saith Yahuwah, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Yehudah shall be saved, Yasharal shall dwell safely, and this is his name whereby he shall be called Yahuwah, our righteousness.
And that would be good news. Now, would it not? Isaiah 52 and 7.
How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bring good tidings.
Paul telling good tidings.
That's Basar.
That's good news. That's tidings. And it said, and that published what?
Shalom.
But tell them what it means to publish peace.
Publish a Shema, to hear, listen, to obey, to be heard, to be regarded, to be obeyed, to cause to hear, to tell.
So let's cause them to hear peace. Go ahead. I know y'all know the word. I'm just being deliberate.
And peace is shalom, completeness, soundness, welfare, peace, safety.
So now he's telling you that's going to cause you to hear about safety and completeness. So when you hear about hearing completeness, then your mind should go to Tamaim, because that would be taking you to perfection, which would be wholeness or integrity. Just understand, I'm not Satan. I know who I am. I got to deal with this beast a little longer. Very well then. That bring what?
Good tidings of good that publish salvation.
Well, tell them what's the good tidings of good, man. What is that? Is that a good old told there? Things that are agreeable, things that are pleasant. Well, what are these agreeable and pleasant things of that he will speak? And then he publishes what?
Salvation.
Well, what word for salvation is there, good sir?
Sure. Salvation, deliverance, welfare, prosperity.
So prosperity, victory. What would you be publishing victory about? And then he says under Zion that what? Your God is king. Jeremiah 31 and 33, that put on that. Go ahead. So that your God is king. This would be good news. If he's telling you that your God is Malik, that means he has some level of dominion or rule, which means to publish that means you not under his dominion or rule. Besides the fact that he's telling you that he's publishing salvation or victory, well, what are you gaining victory over? He's also giving you good tidings of that which is pleasant and agreeable while publishing your completeness and welfare by bringing forth this good news. Now, yes, is that contained in the Lord's death, burial, and resurrection? Absolutely. But are you going to go into the intricate nuances of what that looks like to manifest that so it's plain? Instead of just being death, burial, and resurrection. Okay, that is good news, but how is it good news? How can you show me this out of the word where I can understand it and believe it and trust in it? You know what I'm saying? Can you go 2, 3, 4 layers deep? Or are we just staying on ground level with it? You know what I'm talking about? So come on, Jeremiah 31 and 33.
But this, the covenant that I'll make with the house of Yasharal after those days, saith Yahuwah, I'll put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people.
What up?
They shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahuwah, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahuwah. For I'll forgive their iniquity, and I'll remember their sin no more.
If this man making you a covenant where he gonna put himself in you and forgive your sin and iniquity, I would say that that's good news. That's good news. You know what I'm talking about? But let's hit this 1 John 3 and 5, man, because we ain't got around there. We supposed to got around there 2 hours ago. At least an hour and 45 minutes. But praise you who nonetheless.
And you know that he was manifested to take away our sins, and in him is no sin.
Ain't no sin. Read verse 3. Well, 4. I'm sorry.
Whosoever commits sin, transgress also the law.
Paul, you know, that's what everyone, what's sin? And that's what people use that, and that's fine. It defines that. But nevertheless, you don't need 1 John 3 and 4 to define that. You know what I'm saying? You got plenty of other examples that you can define that. But it's the greater point that the apostle is making. Read it again, 1 John 3 and 4.
Whosoever commits sin, transgress also the law.
Whosoever commits sin, transgress the law. This is the point of the verse. Verse 5. What did he say?
And you know that he was manifested to take away our sins.
So that would take you to Daniel 9 and 24. And guess what? That would make Daniel 9 and 24 good news. Because he said he's going to make an end of sins, to finish the transgression, to anoint the most Kadash, to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness. That's good news. So verse 5 is the key component to verse 4, because he's telling you if sin is transgression of the law, this man was manifested to take away sins, and in him is no sin. And whosoever sinned ain't never seen him or known him. Now, the main aspects of the fruits of righteousness that we've been focusing on for the majority of the evening is faith. Because you know it's love, joy, peace, faith, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, meekness, self-control. Against such, there is no law. And those are Mashiachs have crucified their affections and their lusts. That's what it's saying. Come on with it, man. 1 John 3 and 5.
And you know that he was manifested to take away our sins, and in him is no sin. Whosoever abide in him sin not.
Sin not.
Whosoever sinned have not seen him, neither known him.
What else?
Little children, let no man deceive you.
Let nobody lie to you, baby.
He that do righteousness is
if
righteous.
you do the righteousness, when he said, I have not concealed your righteousness, which is the righteousness of God, which is the righteousness of faith, because the just live by their faith. Little children, let no man do what?
Deceive you.
He
that do righteousness
is
righteous
as
he is righteous.
If you do the righteousness of faith like Yahushua did the righteousness of faith, then you righteous. You know why? Because the tree yields fruit after its kind. My God, today. Come on.
He that commits sin is of the devil.
He that commits sin is of
the devil.
And
for the devil sinned from the beginning.
And
for this purpose, the Son of Elohim was manifested
to
that he might destroy the works of the devil.
You see how that ties back to verse 4 and 5. The devil sinned from the beginning. That's what he said, didn't it? Mm-hmm. The Son of God was manifested to destroy that. So when he says sin is transgression of the law, and we know that he was manifested to take away sins because Daniel told you that. Go ahead.
Whosoever is born of Elohim do not commit sin.
They don't. Psalms 119 tell you that.
For his seed remain in him.
The word stay in.
He cannot sin
because
he is born of Elohim.
And that goes back to what we read in Job, man. That man far be it from Elohim to do wickedness and commit iniquity. Come on.
In this the children of Elohim are manifest, and the children of the devil.
And
whosoever do not righteousness is not of Elohim, neither he that love not his brother.
So when you look at that, what do you ascertain? Each one is a tree after its kind, and the good tree can't bring forth corrupt fruit, and the corrupt tree can't bring forth good fruit. Come on, we're here to 2 Corinthians 11 and 4, so I can lay this on the table and pick this up, y'all willing, on tomorrow, because I ain't got nothing else for this evening. Anything else would just be trying to force it, and we're not going to do that. 2 Corinthians 11 and 1.
Would to Elohim that you could bear with me a little in folly, and indeed bear with me. For I'm jealous over you with godly jealousy. For I've espoused you to one husband.
I've espoused you to
one husband.
One husband.
That I may present a chaste virgin to a Mashiach.
Tell them what chaste is, man. You like to go to Chase Bank? You say, hell no, their rates ain't good.
That is hagnos, exciting reverence, venerable, sacred, pure from carnality,
Pure from carnality.
modest, pure from every fault, immaculate, clean,
Perfect.
perfect.
Them some heckified, them some adjectives. I think you need to read them adjectives again, man. I don't think they heard you. Let's slow it down for them.
Got exciting reverence.
Exciting reverence. That means it pleases you. It brings you joy to respect this man. What's the next one, man?
Venerable.
Venerable, which means you venerate him, which means you honor him.
Got sacred.
Sacred. That's how. Come on.
Got pure.
Pure.
That's from carnality.
That means you pure from the flesh.
You're pure from every fault.
Every fault. That means you ain't got no sin.
Immaculate.
Immaculate.
Clean. You got modest, perfect.
Perfect.
Chaste, clean, pure, innocent.
Now, innocent. These are the same words that you would hear for the most part for Tamaim by definition. But I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go to the Epistle of James, and we're going to pull, we mentioned it earlier, and we're going to pull that word for false. That's in the Epistle of James. This is the Epistle of James. This is in chapter 3. In the chapter 3.
5 and 16.
Yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, it's 5. But I'm going to read 5 and 13, and then we're going to get the definition of false, because he said to be chaste, you would be free from that. So is there any among you afflicted? Let him pray. We see that with the Lord. I was talking about that earlier. Is any merry? Let him sing psalms. Is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the assembly and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer of faith shall save the sick, and the Lord shall raise him up. And if he's committed sins, they shall be forgiven him. Confess faults one to another. Pray for one another, that you may be healed. The effectual prayer of a righteous man avail much. Effectual fervent prayer, of a righteous man avail much. Elijah was a man subject to like passions as we are, and he prayed earnestly that it might not rain. And it rained not on the earth by the space of 3 years and 6 months. And he prayed again, and the Shamaim gave rain, and the earth brought forth her fruit. Brethren, if any of you do err from the truth and one convert him, let him know that he which convert the sinner from the error of his way shall save a soul from death and shall hide a multitude of sins. So I want you to give him false and then effectual fervent.
False is paraptoma, that is to fall beside or near something, a lapse or deviation from truth and uprightness, a sin, a misdeed.
So this one here, man, he say confess your sins.
Here we go. Fall, fault, offense, sin, or trespass.
Yeah, because that's why I told you earlier, I know in that passage, false means sins, not weaknesses, of which I was speaking to. So he say confess that. Then he said the effectual.
Effectual fervent is energeo, that is to be operative, to be at work, put forth power, to work for one, to aid one, to display one's activity, show oneself operative.
He said to work for somebody, to be an aid to them. That's why he was mad with them pastors in Jeremiah 23. They weren't doing that. So let's come back to 2 Corinthians 11 and what, 3 or 4?
Verse 3.
So 2 Corinthians 11 and 3.
But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity.
And you know why that's important? Because Eve was a chaste virgin herself. She was immaculate. She was perfect. She was pure. She just got corrupted by the serpent in the simplicity of the instruction. I just want you to understand that. Everything he said about that woman in verse and that verse before that, Eve was all of that. That's why he's saying, I don't want you to get corrupted by the simplicity. From the simplicity of Amasha, like Eve, read it again.
Mm-hmm. But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Amashiach.
Go ahead.
For if he that come preach another Yahusha whom we have never preached, or if we receive another spirit which you have not received, or another gospel which you have not accepted, you might well bear with. For I was supposed.
Now pause. He said if they bring another gospel or another Yahusha, all them verses we read was speaking to the gospel of Yahusha and the gospel. So if somebody brought something different than Jeremiah 31 and 33, Jeremiah 23 and 5, Isaiah 52 and 7, Isaiah 28 and 15, Isaiah 52:7, Exodus 34:6. Man, they preaching another Jesus to you. Boy, they preaching another Yahushua to you. My God, today. And you know why is that important? Because that means from that Hosea 2:19, that's not who's been betrothed you to him forever. That betrothed to you him in righteousness, judgment, loving kindness, and mercies and faithfulness. That would be contrary to that. But let's stop right there for now. Hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. I appreciate y'all time this evening. I bless y'all the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Y'all God willing, we tomorrow. Sunday will be the observance. They bringing Muhammad to you, a Pentecost, Feast of Weeks, first fruits. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to call it. So service will be at 1:30. But I appreciate y'all. I bless y'all in the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. I love y'all. Yahuwah willing, man. We're going to make it do what it do when it's time to make it do what it do. Amen, man. Shalom, brother. And yeah. So, yes, ma'am. Yahuwah Baruch. So, y'all willing. Peace, 10K. Till that time. Till that time. What did he say? He don't know. I'm going to catch you on black hand side. He don't know nothing about that. Shalom, Sister Regina. Amen. Praise you indeed. Priest, Brother Joseph, man. Hold it down, G. Amen, man. Blessings, Brother Ernest, man. Hold it down, my G. I'm tired of these people writing fake messages on Facebook, too. Shalom, Gary, man. All right.